We'll go ahead and get started with our last session today. And for our last session, I actually will be sharing a few resources with you. So I guess to start off, I'm not sure I introduced myself at the beginning. My name is Alex Glade. I work here at Heartland, and I kind of have a split role between instructional technology and the social studies consultant. I picked up that role as well this year. So this really is a perfect fit for me here today. So really today my plan is to share some different resources that are available. Most of these through Heartland. I did include one at the end that's another one that might be helpful to a lot of people as well. That's not through Heartland, but is geared towards the new standards that are being developed, or that are being implemented rather. They're already developed. And actually that's something, as I've been working with a lot of teachers and a lot of districts on the new standards, the thing I'm hearing the most often is, where do we get resources? What do we use to help teach these things? And these resources that I'm going to share today are some things that could help with that. And as I'm sure many of you know, there are many more resources in the process in various stages of development to help address the new standards as well. But I wanted to start off by just showing some of the resources available through Heartland that could be helpful in a number of different courses and grade levels and areas within social studies. And the first one I wanted to mention is Flix. This is it was a new database this year, was just added to Heartland's resources this year. And actually, I guess, let me back out real quick here and just make sure everyone knows how to access the resources. I know many of your schools have these linked from your school websites or maybe a library website or somewhere, but you also can access all of these through Heartland's website. So if you go to heartlandaea.org, so if you just go to the website here, from there, if you click on, or if you roll your mouse over Library and Digital Resources, and then on down to Online Resources. And then from here, you can see they're divided into these grade bands, so you can click the appropriate one. I think with this being a 612 focus, I'm assuming most of you would be one of those two. And you'll see as you go into these that many of the resources listed under those two categories are the same. There are a few differences, but they're mostly the same. And then once you go into one of these, you will need your school's login information for these. If you don't know the login, we can help get you that later on. But first, I'll just kind of run through some of the features, and then we can get you your logon information as well. All right, so back as I was mentioning earlier, Flix is a new database that was added this year. This is created by Scholastic. It goes along, if any of you were familiar with Flix, and there was one, TrueFlix was the other one. And now ScienceFlix, I think, is new as well. So ScienceFlix and Flix were added to go along with the other two. So really what Flix is, just as a quick summary here, as you can see, it offers a lot of these different materials. There are books, there's videos, there's games, there's a lot of different things that are accessible through this. And you can see here in this graphic the different subject areas that it's divided into. So you can see these can meet a lot of different social studies courses. And then within each one there's further topics under these subject areas. They do list Flix as geared towards grades 4 and up. Many of them do list reading levels. I haven't gone through a whole lot of them. The ones I've looked through, many of them fall in the 6, 7, 8 grade reading level range. So there's a lot that would fall within that range. Some of the features that are available within Flix, you'll see here, so they are flip books. It is a big part of this. Along with each flip book, there is an introductory video. They also have links. One of the things I really like here, and that is especially helpful with the new standards as we move towards more inquiry-based instruction and following the inquiry arc within social studies, is the links to a lot of primary sources that go along with each of these topics. And additionally, there's links to related articles, related topics as well, along with each one. And you can see many of the different things that are available. The dramatic readings are kind of nice for some of the speeches or firsthand accounts. Writing prompts, I really like that one as well. And just some of the links out to other related websites that you know are vetted and reliable websites, rather than just sending students out to find something on their own. And this is just a quick graphic, and I'll show you within Freedom Flix here in a minute, but this shows the different types of sources that are available within a topic. So this would be under the space race topic within Freedom Flix. All of these different sources and links are available just within this one topic. So just to quickly walk through some similar things here. Let's see, we'll go to the assassination of JFK. And I guess just to quickly, those 10 topics that I had listed on that first slide are all across the top here. And you can see under each one, there are more topics, more specific things related to that broad topic. So if we go here to JFK, you can see there is a video here that you can go through, and just kind of an introduction for students to help.
The year was 1960.
Just to help kind of give a little bit of background and introduce them to the topic. There is also the flip books that are available here. And within these, you can see across the top, we have the table of contents, a glossary. There is an audio version as well, so they can have the read aloud where they're hearing it as they're following along, especially maybe for struggling readers, or if you have some special ed students that are really struggling as well with things, or ELL. Yes? It's not too bad, yeah. Let me... Why am I not playing here? Yeah, it's not seeming to do it for me at this moment, but yeah, it's not terrible. I mean, it's not a live voice. It is kind of that robotic a little bit, but it's better than some. Otherwise, there's the zoom in and out as well, so you can just flip through these books and get some information as well. But as I mentioned earlier, some of the things I really like are these extras over here on the side. So by coming in here to explore more, you can see these linked to articles. If I want to find an article on Richard Nixon, I could click here and you'll see, oops. So it gives me some background here on him, but as you see up here at the top, these are from Grolier Online. So again, just some basic background information on people, places, events. So if I wanted to see how the Bay of Pigs invasion could be connected to the Kennedy assassination, I could read through this and get some of that background to maybe help form some opinions. Were Cubans involved? Was it pro-Castro or anti-Castro Cubans that were involved? And then down towards the bottom here, you can see all these primary sources as well. So here I could read Lyndon Johnson's address to Congress. We could look through parts of the Warren Commission here. We could look through the testimony of Governor Connolly, or I guess that's his wife. So we could look through Nellie Connolly's testimony and see what she witnessed the day of the assassination. So just a lot of different links available there, and that's just under the Explore More. Additionally, the related websites, obviously, are websites with related information, and again, these are all vetted, so it's all reliable sources students can use. Each one gives a few project ideas as well, and then these what do you think, so just some questions, which again could be helpful as we're moving towards the new standards and more of the idea of compelling and supporting questions being a part of social studies and following the inquiry arc. Some of these what do you think type questions could help with that as well. And then there's also just kind of a quick little comprehension type quiz here as well under the show what you know. So that's just a real quick overview of Freedom Flix. And as I said, this is a new resource, so a lot of you may not have seen this one yet. Has anybody really used Freedom Flix yet? No? Okay. As I said, it was just added this fall, so it is new. One that's been around for a while that some of you may have used and I think was referenced in a couple of the presentations already today is CultureGrams. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here, but this is a great resource for gathering information about countries. This is all insider information from countries. These are actually written by people living in the country along with somebody from CultureGrams as well. There's also a lot of statistical information that's taken from the CIA World Factbook, from the United Nations. So they gather a lot of different statistical information in addition to just the insider's perspective. And as many of you may have used this in the past, you know there are these different editions of it here. So the World Edition is really more for middle and high school. So with this being primarily a 612 focus today, it's the one that probably would apply to most of you. Now the Kids Edition is more upper elementary, as are the States and Provinces editions as well. And here's just a quick shot of what you see within CultureGrams. And I'm just going to jump in here to a live version of it and show you as well. Let's see. What I think.
North Korea, because it's obviously inside.
Oops. Clicked on Russia. And once you go in, so come back here. So you can click just on the map to get to a continent or down below as well. But we'll try the North Korea one here. So we'll come into North Korea. And so you can see here, it does have just some basic information, average person, official name, anthem, flag, just some of the data as well. I also like there are these infographics available for each country, which is kind of nice as well, just to get a quick snapshot. And this would be a good way, and this could even be something maybe to start an inquiry as a lesson. If you're starting to study a country, maybe showing this infographic and just having students generate some questions based on this. So this could be that dimension one of the inquiry arc could relate right here. But then down the left side are a lot of the other types of information that are available for each country. So you can see there's a lot here as well. Right down to greetings, gestures, eating. So a lot of statistical and cultural and just insider type perspectives. On the right side here, I do like some of the options available here. Relatively recently, I don't remember exactly when it was added, but is the option to save to Google Drive or to add to Google Classroom. So I know most districts in our area are Google districts, so this is a nice option to be able to integrate directly into Google. I also wanted to point out a couple other things down here. I guess I hadn't looked at North Korea, but it makes sense. Most of them have an interviews link. Not surprisingly, North Korea did not allow the interviews. So actually, let's just quickly, I'll go to South Korea. So we can see here, there is an interviews link here on the right side, and usually there's 3 different interviews. And a lot of times it's a kid and kind of maybe 20-ish, maybe this one looks like we have 2 in their 30s, but kind of a young, middle, and older type range for the interviews often. Now, it may vary somewhat. So we see here there's 11, 32, and 36 for this one. But that's kind of nice as well, just to see these interviews and see what types of things they explain about their country. So you can see they ask, how many brothers and sisters do you have? Describe your home. Describe a typical day. So just these types of questions to help students understand what it's like in one of these countries. Another thing I wanted to point out over here under tools is this graphs and tables option, which is a great way to get some information and compare countries. And you have the option once you come in here to do it either as a table or a graph. So I'll just go into our graph. and you can choose up to 10 different countries to compare. So let's see, let's compare, let's do Iraq and Israel. And let's compare, and then you also can choose up to 4 statistics to compare. So let's see, we'll do population, and I'll do population under 15. And then we'll create our graph, and you can see right here. So this gives us a good way to be able to compare these different countries. So we can see in my chart for population, we see Iraq obviously has a much larger population than Israel. They also have a larger population under 15. So this just gives that visual and pulling in some of those statistics in a way that students can visually see the comparison between different countries. And as I said, you can do this for up to 10 countries on a single chart, and up to 4 different statistical categories at one time. Come back here. All right, and the last thing I wanted to show quickly in CultureGrams were these teaching activities down here at the bottom on the right side. So by clicking here, we get 51 different activities that you could use to help teach using CultureGrams. So these are just some ideas for you, maybe some ways to get started with it. And obviously there's a lot of other things you could do as well, and this is perfect as we're designing inquiries for students to gather information and look more closely and draw some inferences of their own as well. All right, and then on to the last database I wanted to highlight for you today. And actually, as I'm waiting for this to load, how many of you have used CultureGrams with your classes? A few of you? Okay. So the next one I wanted to highlight is SIRS. How many of you have used SIRS with your classes? Just a few? Okay, so SIRS is a great resource for different, primarily social issues, and looking at both sides of an issue. So it presents the pro and con of an issue, as well as just some general information on different issues. So this is a great source, again, for some of these inquiries, and when students are needing to come to a conclusion. So when you get on to dimension 4 of the inquiry arc and they're forming their own conclusions, this is a great way for them to work towards that. So as we look each issue in SIRS, there's, again, all these different resources available. There's an introduction that just gives a general overview of the topic or of the issue. There's pro and con viewpoints, along with essential questions for each viewpoint. There's access to a whole lot of other articles and videos and documents and things as well. So, just to quickly show SIRS, so we'll just go to minimum wage. So we can see here, it again starts with a question. So we're seeing the inquiry arc again here and some of the inquiry standards in our new Iowa Social Studies standards. So starting with this question, should the minimum wage be raised? And then we see a little bit of background information. Our viewpoint 1 is that increasing it would reduce poverty. And we see a couple of different resources there that support that point of view. Viewpoint 2 is that raising the minimum wage would have adverse effects on the economy. And again, there's some sources that support that viewpoint. And then down below here, we have all kinds of different sources related to the minimum wage. So we see here 294 newspaper articles, 44 magazine articles, and so on, all down these different types of sources. But I also like up here at the top some of these other things here. So critical thinking and analysis. So again, it helps provide some of these questions. Again, back to our inquiry standards of being able to use questions. And the timeline also. So here with the minimum wage, let's see, oops. Oh, there we go. So we go back to FDR and the Fair Labor Standards Act with the creation of a minimum wage. And then this timeline following on through key events related to the minimum wages. So that's here at the timeline, but also this research guide is a great tool to use with students as well. So this is a PDF, and students can fill this out as they go. So it does have these fields that they can type right in. So see, they can type in their information here as they're researching, and it helps guide them through this whole process. And it's, I don't know, 4 or 5 pages long, I think. So it's got quite a few different things to help guide them as they're looking at these different points of view and gathering evidence to support a conclusion. All right. So those were the 3 main ones that I wanted to highlight today. I did put in some links. Now, obviously, there are many of these different resources that are useful within a social studies classroom. I pulled out a couple of them that could apply. It looks like 6 others I put in here that also might be useful, and just a short little explanation of each. There are many others. As I was pulling these out, I was having trouble getting it down to just 6. I easily could have put 10 or 12 in here that could be used within different social studies courses. So feel free to go back and look. So if back where we started here, when I showed you how to get in, feel free to look through all of these. There, as I said, most of these you could probably find a way to use within social studies. As we know, that's one thing about social studies. It kind of pulls together a lot of the different content areas. So this is many of these different sources could be used within a social studies course. Yeah, Learn 360 is a great one as well. And it's one of the ones I did pull out here. So it does have primarily video clips. There are some audio clips and other things in it as well. NBC Learn is another good one. It has old newscasts and things like that that are available in it. So there's a lot of things there as well. And could go through all of these and describe some different things that you might be able to use. But I'd encourage you just to take some time and look through these, see what you can use within your classes. Before I finish up, though, I also wanted to highlight, you may have heard that the State Historical Society has been creating text sets for the new standards. Specifically, as I'm sure many of you are aware, Iowa history is now, there are standards for Iowa history from K-12. No longer is it just, as many places did, a one-year course that you may just take that 1 year and the other teachers it doesn't apply to. Iowa history standards are now part of every course, K-12. So the State Historical Society is working on developing some sources to help with this. So right now they have these, 12 different text sets available on their website. These include national and international information as well as the Iowa connection to these. So these are a great way to be able to address those new Iowa history standards. Additionally, as I said, there's 12 of them here now. They have 50 some, I think it's 54 or something like that, others in various stages of development right now. So there will be many more added to this website as well. But this is what's here right now. And just one last opportunity for anyone that feels you may use some of those text sets. The state is working with a research group, and I guess I didn't put the name of the research group on here. It's EDC, I can't remember what it stands for, but basically they're working to evaluate the effectiveness of these text sets to determine how they're being used and if they're effective. And they're looking for people to take part in this research study. So to take part in this, you can see here these bullet points list some of the things they would like participating teachers to do. So the big thing is you have to teach using at least one of these text sets. You have to do a survey on it, share some lesson plans, share some student work related to it, and participate in an interview. And for doing this, you could be eligible for a $200 stipend as well. Now, as I put here on the side, they are especially looking for middle school U.S. history and upper elementary right now. Now, if you don't teach one of those, feel free to go ahead and apply here. They've been gathering people for a while now. They may still take more, I don't know. It wouldn't hurt to apply if you're interested, but especially if you teach middle school U.S. history or upper elementary. And you can see down at the bottom, I put a link to their kind of intro survey where you're basically saying, yes, I'm interested in this. And also a link, Noah Goodman is the person from EDC who's running this survey or running this study. So his email is there as well. If you have questions, feel free to contact him. Otherwise, are there any questions about any of these resources, about the Iowa history text sets? Yes?
I know the text sets were rolled into like there's the at-a-glance standards
Right.
for third grade, and then obviously for the U.S. history for high school, that how to use the text sets and really how to bundle and cluster the standards.
Exactly.
There was talk about like 7th grade would be coming out and others. Do you know the timeline of when we'll be able to see the others besides the third grade and the U.S.
Last
history?
I've heard, there has not been any timeline mentioned. Now, I know that, which ones is it? I know 7th grade and government, and I think one other, are all in various stages of being developed. There is also a plan to make not as comprehensive as the U.S. history and third grade ones that are out there, but to do just a single unit at a glance for every grade level and subject area. So that will be done at some point. Again, I don't know for sure how soon. But just even that idea of bundling the standards, that will be a bigger focus of next year's statewide PD. So I know some of you have already attended the one that was offered this year, and I think some of you are registered for the one that's the end of February as well. There are also, and that one is full if anyone is looking to get in, but there is still space in the one offered in June. So anyone who still wants into this year's statewide PD, which is just kind of the general intro to the standards, some of the instructional shifts, that there is space in the June session of that. And then next year, there will be 3 more sessions offered that will focus more on beginning to take those standards and bundle them and put them into unit plans. So that will be more the focus of next year's statewide PD. Any other questions for me related to these standards or these resources, or I guess the standards? Nope. Okay, well, I'll let Marissa
I'll finish
close
up,
us up here then.
today. A couple things about TIC. We have TIC on February 20th. We have CTE, which is Career Technical Engineering, which includes human sciences, marketing, business, STEM. We are at risk of canceling that one because we have no submissions. And so if you have a CTE teacher in your building who uses Tinkercad or uses Google Classroom or uses formative assessments, please encourage them. We reached out a couple of them, and they know what the redesign. They're like, oh, we don't feel comfortable standing in a group of people, but so they might just need that little that nudge from you to say, hey, could you present? Because we really don't want to cancel it because we've had some really great turnout, and that's a very, very specific group of teachers that doesn't always get the PD that that some of us already get. So we're taking presentation proposals up until probably next Friday. So we'll make a decision then. And then we did have to reschedule our pre-K 2 for the day after, which is February 21st. Another thing, you should have just received an email from me that includes a feedback form for today. So we encourage you to fill that out and invite you to fill that out to let us know how we did and how we can better serve you in the future. And, the last 2 things on the agenda. Do you have the agenda pulled up on here?
No, I don't have that.
Okay. On the bottom of the agenda, there I added some courses that are being offered here at Heartland. The first one is if you would like to become a Seesaw in your classroom K-12. That is one that was being offered. It's a 2-hour on Monday. It's for 2 hours. I don't remember what day it is, but you come for 2 hours, and then the rest is all online. Sorry, April 16th. The rest is all online for grad credit and license renewal credit. We also added a Makey Mickey workshop that was like high demand. Another AEAs, it's booked, but we are offering it April 9th. There is a $28 fee to that course, and that is because you get a Makey Mickey that usually typically costs $50. So you're getting it for $20, and then the $8 is the registration and also the other materials. And then our last one is Kathy Hines is teaching this summer a Google app, a Google Suite, a Google Certified Educator 1 and 2 class. So on June 12th and 13th, you'll become Google Certified by the end of that course. That is what she's offering this summer. And then we also have a Being Maker STEM and STEAM class offered the exact same days here at Heartland, but that hasn't been posted yet because I haven't decided what book we're using. So save the dates for those. I think that... Oh, yeah. And then so the following afternoon, or this afternoon, we have about, it looks like 12 of you signed up. How many of you are planning on staying for the afternoon for the collaboration? Perfect. The afternoon is full of collaboration time. It is very informal. We don't have any presentations or anything any expectations set by us. So it's for you to use this time to collaborate with those who came with. Also, our presenters are welcome to stay, so you can have some more work time with them if you choose. So we will start that at 1 o'clock. So we'll give you enough time to enjoy a non-traditional school lunch time. So, all right. Thank you very much.